Stadium here in San Diego, California. And it is a good matchup here today in the NWSL. San Diego, unbeaten all time here at home in all competitions. 3 wins in the regular season, 4 wins in all competitions through 8 matches. Kansas City unbeaten in the last 8 with Marion Crowder. Michael Watring, excited to watch this one alongside you. Hope you're having a nice day or night as we take a look at the starting 11 for San Diego. And this is a very potent crew up top, anchored by Alex Morgan, Marion. You also have the ability of Sophia Jakobsen on one side and Kelsey Turnbow on the other.
Yeah, Alex Morgan being back into the starting 11. And I think one big thing for them is going to be the ability of Naomi Girma and Real to really anchor that center back position. Kansas City has some firepower that they're going to unleash. So it's going to be about Girma really commanding Van Egmond to sit more centrally, and that allows for Taylor Korniak, it allows for Bree to really get involved more on the flanks and feed those services into Alex Morgan.
These two teams are the stingiest defensive units in the league, giving up the fewest goals between them. As you take a look at the starting 11 for Kansas City, 3 in the MAC, 5 in the middle, 2 up top for this group, and of course AD Franch in goal.
Yeah, AD Franch really anchoring in front. Right there, Elizabeth Ball you see, but really my focus is going to be Labonta. It's going to be Pickett. It's going to be Desiree Scott. How can they really attack San Diego centrally and allow for people like Hamilton to make those delayed runs in behind?
San Diego will wear the navies. It's all white for Kansas City as we get started in the second matchup between these two clubs. The first matchup was a thriller. Alex Morgan's penalty in the 90th minute leveled the terms at 2-2, and that's how the game finished up. What happens here today at Torero Stadium? Stick with us over the next 2 hours to find out. Kansas City unbeaten in the last 8. They have 4 shutouts in that stretch. This is the best string in the history of the club. Turnbow looking for space. Well, with Morgan back out there, she's 1 goal shy of 50 for her career, would be the 5th player in NWSL history to hit that mark. San Diego has spent every week at the top of the table, and this is an important one because if they don't get a result, and Chicago does, they would be outside of the top position here after the 13th week. What do you think the key is going to be for Kansas City to continue their strong run here away from their home facility?
I think you just hit the nail on the head. It's going to be about setting the tone, right? You're coming into an environment that highly favors San Diego, as Alex Morgan is whistled offside there, but they're a very good team at home, and it was a long trip for Kansas City, so setting the tone and the tempo really early is going to be something that's going to separate them in this first 45 minutes. I think San Diego really loves to press, but their back line doesn't always step with them. So if Labonta and Scott can really find some pockets of space in between the center backs and the holding mids, it can really open up some big opportunities for Kansas City.
CeCe Kizer with that touch. She has been a quality addition for Kansas City. With these two defensive-minded sides, which attacking group will get the better? Alex Morgan, the leader in the NWSL, and as you mentioned, Labonta, as well as the aforementioned Kizer, can provide a good scoring prowess for the Current.
Goals could literally come from anywhere today.
Something to keep an eye on, but you also have 2 elite goalkeepers. Louis Hines said that Kaylin Sheridan's world class, and of course AD Franch is among the best in the history of this league to ever do it. Kristen Westphal will take the throw in here. Turnbow denied. Korniak, nearly an interception. Korniak underrated, according to her coaches. Everybody thinks perhaps that just because of her stature, she's a good set-piece target, but in the run of play, she has shown that not only this season, but with the U.S. women's national team as well in her call-up, that she's much more than just a target.
I think she fits this system a lot better than she fit in an Orlando, and a player that really just has vision on and off the ball. And yes, the stature definitely speaks for itself. She can win balls first and second. She can be a target on set pieces, but she can also really be a key part in their possession and their ability to spring players like Alex Morgan quickly.
Her athleticism has been on display, and if you followed her high school career, you would know that as well. A outside hitter in volleyball, played a little flag football, wide receiver as well.
Like an actual flag football league?
An actual flag football team, yes.
Good on you. Good on you, Taylor. Oh, good timed run there from Turnbow.
A lot of options here. Kelsey Turnbow elects to shoot. Franch will keep it out from her potential goal kick. Kelsey Turnbow, 22 years of age, played at Santa Clara. Still looking for her first professional goal, but her impact has been very solid with the San Diego side. And anytime you have a player like Alex Morgan that scored 11 goals, it's the players around her that are a big reason why. And Turnbow is certainly a big part of the attack.
I think she's got a lot of room to grow as well. I think we kind of just saw one aspect that maybe will be an improvement area for her in the next season is just that decision making in the final third, right? Deciding if I'm going to be patient, allowing my team to join with me, or deciding if I'm going to go full force on my own. I think that improvement in that area could really take her game to the next level.
Haley Mace. Germa puts her body on the line. What a rookie season she has had.
Phew.
It says a lot about a 21-year-old coming right out of Stanford that she fits in and has proven to be a leader for this San Diego side at the central back position. Kaylin Sheridan, she's one shutout away from 20 in her career. 80 Franch, one away from 40 for her tenure in the NWSL. It's a good crowd here at Torero Stadium. Just about 6 weeks away from opening Snapdragon Stadium against Angel City. Expecting to break the all-time NWSL attendance record for that matchup, and that should be a fun one. Last time those two teams tangled, Claire Emsley scored in the 81st minute. Down a player to win that for Angel City, and you know San Diego has been stewing on that.
And you see right there, that was exactly what San Diego wanted to do. Press higher up the field to really deny the entry options, the easier entry options into the feet of the center back, the outside back. Forces a long ball over the top.
Here's Lola Bonta, and there's Kaylin Sheridan. A great leg save.
San Diego initially did well to force Kansas City into that turnover in the middle of the park, give it right back away. Cheeky little flick on to a speedy LaBonta. And Sheridan read that one all the way. You can tell the way that she came up. It really cut the angle. Couldn't really go near post. Makes that leg kick save out for a corner. Lucky that one was not a goal in the back of the net.
First shot attempt of the match for Kansas City. Nearly found pay dirt. And now the first corner of the early evening hours here in California. Played back to Pickett. Flag stays down, and it'll be another corner kick.
I think this time a more direct service into the box. It's early in the game. Sheridan just made a big save. Keep testing her. I think sometimes when you do those short corners, it really messes with the timing of those recycled runs to the back post, makes it really difficult for players to stay on side, get in dangerous positions.
Alex Luera. This time does service it. Slices, though, over the top of the bar and does not challenge Sheridan. Luera, a great college career at Santa Clara, 3 consecutive Defender of the Year awards in the West Coast Conference. Some really talented young defenders on the pitch.
A really exciting roster, honestly, for both of these young teams. So much room to have some legacy players, players that really spend their whole career at both franchises. And I think looking into the future, just a chance to get some of these young players this quality experience. So when these new draft picks come in, the new generation comes in, you have this mentorship going on. I think both of these teams have done an exceptional job of allowing that to happen by putting younger players on the pitch, allowing them to get that experience.
I think that's so valuable for the league as a whole, to have that passing of the torch. Witnessing it around the league. Hamilton applies the pressure, and Sheridan sweeps the leg and pushes it out towards the middle of the field. Turnbow wins. Turnbow's pass forward, pretty well weighted, but Franch clears the line.
Yeah, Franch knows she's going to have to act really as that next defender, maybe more than a goaltender at times in this game.
A miscommunication between Westfall and Real. Mace joins the party. Haley Mace to the box. Gurma wins the header. Alex Morgan comes all the way back to defend. She'll take charge here as San Diego giving the ball away on a couple occasions here, and it almost cost them with Labanta's run earlier, and still can't maintain possession. Mace thinking. Haley Mace with an extra pass. Sheridan watches that one sail on the pass attempt, looking for Kaiser.
One thing we don't talk about enough when we think about how teams keep possession for long stretches, that was an excellent step by Ball to really keep the ball locked into San Diego's defensive third. And then Mace is the recipient of that lovely little through ball. Wants that one back. And this is one of those games you're playing against 2 stout defensive units, 2 incredible goalkeepers. The patience and the finesse in the attack is going to have to be on point for something to get past either of these goalkeepers.
And right now what we're seeing for San Diego is the shakiness defensively, and they are fortunate that they haven't given one away. Sheridan just passed that right to Labanta. Perhaps a little impatient, can't put it on frame.
And that's another thing that's so important. We just saw the first ball won and the second ball picked up by Kansas City. And that's how you're going to relieve that early pressure of San Diego and really continue your momentum forward. And right now, Kansas City has all the momentum in this first 13 minutes or so.
Alex Morgan took a forearm to the forehead. Fava making this push, and right there got the hand right up there.
To the eye.
That's the craziest stat about Alex Morgan is this year with 11 goals is the first time in the NWSL she's put up double digits in a season. Korniak won that initial ball. Franch looking to start the counter. Kaiser, really good hold-up play. And now appears that Del Fava will need a moment. Nearly a quarter hour in the books. Great to have you with us for this matchup. Joined by Marion Crowder, Michael Watrang, our entire crew. Happy to have you along for the ride. 3-1 in favor of Kansas City here so far in this matchup. And they had the best chance in the 8th minute off of a turnover. Lo LaBonta got into the box and took a shot that Kaylin Sheridan made a good save on. And two teams that are in solid form right now. Kansas City hasn't lost a match since May 25th. San Diego in the expansion year has never lost a matchup at home in all competitions. And one of two teams in the league without a home loss so far this year. OL Reign 4-0-3 on the season. And they'll be in action in about a half hour against Houston. It's a busy day in the NWSL. 4 matches today after 2 finished up on Friday. Mace will go 1v1 as she waits for reinforcements. Now flies it in. Girma will clear. Turnbow.
Very good decision there by Turnbow. Didn't have the numbers. Big switch at the point of attack, but that run for Kansas City started with excellent team defending, but again, just impatience right there in the attack. Thought there was time to take a touch, settle it, have a better go at goal. And the longer you let San Diego stay in at home and don't punish them for some of these chances, the more comfortable they're going to get, the more the game is going to open up in their favor. And you could be looking back at this first 15 minutes saying, hey, those were the chances that really would have made this game. And the deeper we get into the season, the better that teams get, the more important that quality in the attacking third is going to be.
Morgan. Jakobsen, the closest target. It goes out. One of the biggest issues that Kansas City has run into this season on the road. They have just 1 first-half road goal this year. And they've only scored 3 times in the first 75 minutes. So very rarely playing with a lead on the road. And as you mentioned, as you go through the rest of the season, perhaps those road points might prove to be the difference for a team right now that sits just above the playoff line in the current. Take a look at Casey Stoney. Previous stop was with Manchester United, former England captain. And I think she's done a really good job with this expansion group. Ball is able to hit that ball over Turnbow, who was asking for a foul.
Now you mentioned Casey Stoney. I think, you and I were talking earlier before this game started that one of the best things I think that she has done is cultivate an environment of respect, and players feel comfortable enough to tell her, hey, this isn't working, hey, this is. But that also translates to on the field. They feel comfortable enough to make mistakes as players, and how important is that when you're talking about the learning process of an expansion group? You come into that knowing that there is growth to be had, but you all need to have this learning mentality, and that starts from Casey Stoney. So in my opinion, that's one of the best things that she has done for this group is really the environment that she's created.
Kaiser, a nutmeg. Girma always seems to find her way around the ball, around the 6. LaBonta Delightful pass initially by Pickett, but does get cleared out. Kansas City's done a good job of applying that pressure here in the first 20 minutes.
And then that's where we see that example again. Ball really stepping in to make sure that things stay locked in into San Diego's defensive third. Really not allowing for that out pass to Turnbow.
Labonta. Jakobsen doesn't get enough of it. Mace was trying to push it back in. And San Diego just trying to gain that possession. Well, to your point about Casey Stoney in this environment, I don't think that it really ever happens, maybe I guess at the youth level, where an entire team is formed and you've never played together before. Even in the college ranks, there's typically turnover, and certainly some of these players have played together, maybe on other teams or on national teams, but you basically
being
have
in the same locker room is different.
Yeah, basically an entirely new roster, and to be in the position that they're in, where they have been at the top of the table all season long, that really does speak to the coaching staff and what they've been able to create. Samantha Martinez blows this play dead.
And to that, I think if we look back at the beginning of the season, you can see them trying to find their identity, San Diego. But, you know, we're not in the locker room every day. We're not on the pitch and practice with them every day. But if I had to guess, I would say that there is a consistent message across every staff member, every front office member, that this is who we want to be. And then looking at it more from a tactical perspective, I'm sure that message is consistent across practices, across trainings. Because like you're saying, you don't get this kind of success unless you're all on the same page of what you want to achieve.
Foul was whistled, and off of the restart, San Diego brings their back line into the attacking half, and Germa, a rare mistake. Labonta thinking about flying this one in. You could see Sheridan was now towards the 18-yard box, and Labonta had the thoughts of going over her head but didn't contact it well. You just wonder how many more mistakes can San Diego make with a possession before it eventually comes back to bite them. Mace decides to take this one in. Two runners, Hamilton and Kaiser, were in there.
I love that ball from Mace. That bending ball in behind the back line, that earlier delivery, it's so difficult for defenders to time. And then when you get your body turned around, you're running towards your own goal. So it either creates, you either end up losing a mark, you're at the possibility of maybe an own goal, or you're at a collision with your goalkeeper. So there are several things from an attacking perspective that early ball really delivers. So I like that look a lot from Mace.
Was to your point earlier on the corner kick, sometimes when you take that maybe earlier than expected, the runners are on time.
Yep.
Fans here in San Diego have supported this team very well this season. 3 wins, 3 draws in the regular year for San Diego here on this pitch. Jakobsen eludes 2 defenders, now will need to do so again. A throw coming as Kristen Edmonds steps up.
I think other than the poor turnovers that we are obviously seeing here with San Diego, which is very unlike them, we are seeing still a trend for San Diego. I think sometimes they get in this isolated type of attack, right? They have several games, if you go back and watch, that they're really relying on the 1v1 ability of Alex Morgan or the 1v1 ability of Jakobsen, Alex Morgan, whoever it may be. You have incredible individual skills at your disposal. I get it. But there have been time and time again where just a few more secondary movements in the attack, a few bits of combination play would actually put you in a lot more effective manner. And against a team like Kansas City, who has the back line like Kansas City does, that combination play, especially on the flanks, is going to be really important for them. And so I think right now we're seeing a little bit too much still of that isolated kind of attack for San Diego.
It's been the most difficult team in the league to break down since May 26. Just 7 goals allowed since that point. And what a turnaround it has been for Kansas City. Just 1 point in the first 5 matches. Mace takes it away. One extra touch and can't put it on frame.
I think maybe from my angle that one looked a lot closer than it was, but I was almost up out of my chair thinking she was going to hit top bin. But again, another poor giveaway. Just doesn't have the movement. Westphal doesn't have the options. You can see her head's up. She's looking. Mace, excellent read, takes it away and then tries to bend it into that far back post. Mace has been excellent so far. And I think Kansas City is doing a really good job. How best do you defend players like Alex Morgan, Turnbow, Jakobsen? Well, you don't allow yourself to get in a foot race. You don't allow yourself to get in a 1v1 situation. And oftentimes, that's best achieved by denying entry balls and denying the pass into their feet, the pass over the top. So Mace is doing a really good job of stepping up a little bit higher and forcing Westphal into some poor decisions.
Possession has favored Kansas City. They've also had twice as many passes in the opposition half so far. And that's to your point. They've denied San Diego from having possession to be able to utilize those attacking players in the first 25-plus minutes. Here's a foul whistled as Pickett concedes possession. And Pickett will be shown a yellow card as well.
And she can't believe it. She is one of the most hardworking players on this pitch and definitely got all leg there, no ball. At first look, it looked like it was just a hard 50-50 challenge that was unfortunate, but that was definitely a yellow. Right call by the referee. But you know what? Honestly, I'm fine with that. This is a game. Like we said, you need to set the tone, and sometimes a hard challenge does just that.
Loose ball at the top of the 18. Hamilton. Kaiser making a great run. Will have to take on 2 defenders. CC Kaiser gets the extra touch. Kaiser opens the scoring. CC Kaiser ripples the rope. 4th time this season, and Kansas City lead 1-0.
What an excellent moment of transition from this current side. Hamilton did so well there to hold play up. Ends up getting on the half turn, and CC Kaiser is just stretching that San Diego back line. That's exactly what we talked about. San Diego will push so many numbers forward, but their back line sometimes just hangs out. Hamilton found that pocket of space, found CC Kaiser. Good move around Girma and just buries it to the back post. A player really coming into her own this season is CC Kaiser.
Well, it was an amazing pass by Hamilton with the weight, but it was also that last move that Kaiser made against Girma, who's been so successful this year and winning a lot of those balls and not allowing shot attempts, that gained that extra bit of separation. And Kaylin Sheridan couldn't stop that opportunity. And after all those moments we had asked when Kansas City was going to take advantage, it comes in the 27th minute.
And that's what makes some attackers separated from the rest, is their ability to have that prep touch, the ability to find that moment of separation. And let's kid you not, I guarantee you if we looked at that again, that is not an easy shot angle that CC just made. And really what Girma was probably trying to do is say, okay, I'm going to take away the back post by kind of shuffling her in there. And she was expecting her goalkeeper to really hone in on that front post, and somehow or another CC Kaiser just slips it in between them because of that really effective prep touch that got her enough window to find the seam.
It's snaps a 216-minute goalless drought by San Diego opponents. The last goal conceded was that Claire Emsley strike for Angel City on July 9th. CC Kaiser came over about a month and a half ago, and she has fit in extremely well after coming over from Racing Louisville. Still just 24 years old after playing collegiately at Ole Miss.
I will say the storyline of this first 30 minutes has been the poor turnovers for San Diego, but that goal was all Kansas City. They did everything correctly. There really wasn't a lot more other than stepping your lineup a little bit higher and forcing CC Kaiser to stay on side a little bit higher. There wasn't much else that San Diego could have done. That was just training ground attack on display from Kansas City.
Desiree Scott a little shaken up as we hit the half-hour mark. She's 30 minutes away from 10,000 career minutes. Become just the second Canadian to reach that mark. 1-0 Kansas City on top. CC Kaiser just scoring moments ago. Here at the half-hour mark. Joined by Marion Crowder, Michael Watrang, and our entire crew. Great to have you with us for this matchup. Come in, stay a while for the next 60 minutes. You can expect some sparks down the stretch, even though these two teams are the two stingiest defensive units in the league. And here's some great goal-scoring ability. We just saw that from Kaiser. And Alex Morgan's been pretty quiet so far. And it can happen in the blink of an eye. She had a brace the first time these two teams met back on June 4th. Let's look at Matt Potter, and spoke with him a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about the recent run of form and most importantly the continuity that the team had, and felt like the more games that the team would play, the better they would be, and boy has that been the case, riding an 8-match unbeaten string. Jakobsen fouls LaPonta, and a free kick coming here for the Current. Just 2 shot attempts so far for San Diego. Alex Luera was looking for Pickett, falls to Kaiser. Ball had an opportunity inside the 18-yard box. San Diego not out of trouble yet. Mace over the head this time of Pickett. Well, if you're San Diego right now, how do you try to find that attacking presence that you've had this season? Just 2 shot attempts and not a lot of attacking possession so far.
I think this is one of the teams that has played you the best in terms of denying that direct entry ball that San Diego so often likes to play. So what that means is your midfield is going to have to be a little bit more involved. The holding mid needs to really get a hold of the ball, and one thing I think San Diego needs to do a better job of that will lead to a better attack is really making sure that they are pressing and keeping Kansas City to one side. So lock it into one side, win it on that one side, and then go find your defensive holding mid. Allow her to switch the point of attack to the free Alex Morgan on the other side. It's just a matter of finding that better outlet right now for them.
Kelsey Turnbow gets taken down by Elizabeth Ball, and a free kick is coming.
I tell you what, Elizabeth Ball has had Kelsey Turnbow's number this whole game. You can tell that that was one of the game plans coming into this, is maybe to limit a player like Turnbow's touches, obviously limit Alex Morgan's touches, but Ball has done well to step with her at every chance she gets. Just making her life difficult right now. Because I think we have seen Turnbow get really upset. The more physical a game is, sometimes the more it takes her out of it, and so I think that's something that Elizabeth Ball is purposefully doing. Granted, this is putting your team in a really dangerous position, and that was not a smart foul. but you can tell that that's what was on the scouting report.
Here perhaps could be the best opportunity for San Diego. Turnbow and Van Egmond standing over the top of it. A yellow card given to Elizabeth Ball. And it will be Van Egmond high over the bar.
That's such an awkward distance. It's not really a place for a service, but it's also not just kind of a finesse ball in. There's got to be a lot of power, a lot of whip to that, to not only get it around the wall, but to have enough power to get it past the goalkeeper. You could tell the power was there, just leaned back on it way too much. Really got to go down and around with that ball. And this is the example I'm talking about right here. Exactly, win the ball in possession. Now what needs to be better is finding the outlet. There you go.
Alex Morgan. Touch let her down, but she's able to track back to it. Jakobsen. Good dribbling being displayed here, but it's not getting him anywhere, except for a corner kick right now. Second corner of the match for San Diego. Turnbow will strike it. Here comes the left-footed in-swinger. This is everybody. Bonta fouled. The hold-up play for Kansas City has been really good. That's been the biggest difference between these two sides is when they get possession in their defensive third, they're able to alleviate that pressure and get it out of there. San Diego on the other side has given possession away far too many times.
And that was much better what we saw from Turnbow, really trying to be closer in proximity to the ball. San Diego's just a team that likes to run. They have the players and the ability to run, and so sometimes that's a hard habit to break. And it's hard to realize when that is not the game that you need to play today, because Kansas City is picking up that the entire time. They're well unified in the back enough to decide whether we want to step, we want to drop. It's going to be tough to get in behind them, and so what's going to need to happen is a little bit more check two, a little bit more of a player checks off the back line, and then we make that delayed run in behind. Third man running combinations I think would be really key for San Diego if they could lock it in here, win possession, and go from there.
Kaiser, it's so good in possession. And now a throw for San Diego. Just the second first half goal scored on the road this season for Kansas City. And it's the difference in this match right now. There's that switch of field you asked for. Jakobsen lays it off for Van Egmond. Elizabeth Ball, a 60-year-old from Penn State. Van Egmond, Branch, leaps, catches.
That was much better there from San Diego. It's hard sometimes because you want the game to go vertical, right? You want to run, you want to have those route one balls over the top, but sometimes there is no harm, and sometimes it's a lot more effective when you're looking at shifting defenses if you play just a bit more laterally.
Kaiser. CeCe Kaiser's shot blocked. Mace. Haley Mace takes a shot, twists it in. Haley Mace stings the strings. Kansas City lead 2-0.
Well, Mace has been the player for me in these first 45. She has been a key component of their ability to win the ball off San Diego. She's been the recipient of several San Diego turnovers, and she just says, no one's going to step to me. I'll take that to the top end. And it gets a little deflection off here, but from San Diego, that is very delayed, way too delayed for a player like Mace to be on the ball that long. And it was almost like San Diego didn't realize that she is at the top of the box. She is at the top of the 18-yard box. She can absolutely whip one in from here. Does it with finesse, with power. A wonder strike from Haley Mace right there.
One of the 4 current players to be in the July Players of the Month, with Branch, Edmonds, and Labonta. Gets her 2nd goal of the season. And after back-to-back shutouts, San Diego has given up multiple goals for just the 4th time this year. And a Wave side that has to be perhaps a little shell-shocked right now. Never lost at home in all competitions for the expansion group, and now they'll need a big charge. Seems like there is certainly some frustration setting in for San Diego on some of these passes. Labonta off the intercept. Now Westphal steps in the passing lane as Hamilton was backpedaling. Cross gets cleared away. A lot of numbers forward here for the Wave. This ball crossed into the box. Branch, the only one there in the pink jersey.
And you see 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 blue jerseys, but no one really making the runs. And so that's another example of just kind of that, she'll figure it out. Let's get her the ball. She'll figure it out on the flank, right? That isolated kind of attack mentality. And we've seen that's not going to break down a team as good in defense as Kansas City is.
Kaiser plays it forward. Kristen Hamilton. Hamilton swings it, and that's a terrific diving stop by Sheridan.
I know she's got 2 goals on her already, but Sheridan really is having a big game. She's kept them only at this 2-goal deficit. And again, Casey just finding these pockets of space in between the midfield and the back line of San Diego right now. It is a free-for-all for the 10s of Kansas City. Mace, Labonta, they are finding a lot of success attacking centrally, and then just that little slip ball into the runner's feet, and it's off to the races.
Very easily could be 3, maybe even 4 with a couple good saves by Sheridan as this corner kick. Cleared well initially by Morgan, but gets another shot at it. Mace. San Diego salvaged something out of the final moments of the first half. It was a good move, but the pass not on target. Kansas City has won back-to-back road matchups after losing 3 of the first 4 of the year. And here against San Diego, a 2-0 lead. Looking to take that into the locker room. Hearing 2 minutes of stoppage time here in the first half. And a San Diego side that will need the locker room to try to make some changes and adjustments. So 2 minutes of stoppage time. And a 2-0 Kansas City lead. Labonta, the aggressor, has been Kansas City in the opening half. Jakobsen. Ball makes the turn and wins possession back. What's your assessment of the first 45 minutes here?
Well, I thought the first 15 minutes it was all about the poor turnovers from the San Diego back line. But, you know, Kansas City really couldn't make much of those opportunities. But as the half progressed, KC, you could see they were unified defensively. The hold-up play has been brilliant from Hamilton specifically. And then players that I'm thinking of, Labonta and Mace specifically, they really took advantage of that pocket of space. We talked about how far San Diego's back line can get from the rest of their group. It's almost acting and operating as its own line, and that has really opened up the game for players like Labonta, like Mace, to just run at the back line, and then it's just an easy slip ball into Hamilton. So I think you also have to look at this from San Diego's perspective. What happens when your defense is constantly under attack? Eventually you are going to break down. And so I think that there's not enough options right now from the San Diego midfield, but also just their technical execution of their passing, their first touches. It's been very uncharacteristic start, especially at home for San Diego, just even when you look at their technical form. The big ask, if I was Casey Stoney, would be that my midfield shows up more. Give your defenders some options. Get us out of this kind of air raid attack, right? Get us out of this pressure situation that we continuously find ourselves in. And then if you're Kansas City, it's all about just doing the exact same thing. Continue to find those pockets of space in between the back line and the midfield, because that is what's working for you right now.
Kansas City's in as good of a run of form as any team in the NWSL, unbeaten in 8 straight. They scored twice, thanks to Kaiser and Mace in the first half. And after 45 minutes on the road, Kansas City lead the league leading San Diego Wave 2-0. We're at halftime here at Torero Stadium. Stick with us. Second half action right around the corner as you watch the NWSL on Twitch.
Happy 6th birthday, Kansas. Thank you one and all for your attendance at this afternoon's match.
Let me down easy. Oh, oh, oh.
We welcome you back to Southern California, getting ready for the second half of San Diego and Kansas City. At the break, maybe a surprising result brewing here at Torero Stadium with Kansas City on top by a 2-0 margin, scoring in the 27th minute and the 40th minute thanks to Kaiser and Mace respectively. And really, the score indicates the overall statistics. A dominant opening half by Kansas City. They controlled possession. They had several interceptions, and they had a 3-shots-to-1 lead overall. with Marion Crowder, Michael Watching. And Marion, you look at the stats, that kind of bears out exactly what we saw in the opening 45.
Absolutely, and I think other than the score, the thing to point out is just the shots on goal, right? You see 4 for Kansas City and none for San Diego, and that goes back to them having kind of this individualistic approach to the attack right now. And so far for them this season, it's worked, but they have yet to play a back line as unified as Kansas City, and I think what we're seeing is a more unified attack all around from Kansas City as opposed to what San Diego is doing right now. San Diego needs a much more from their midfield. I think that possession doesn't tell the full story because, let's be real, San Diego's possession was not really purposeful. It needs to be, I mean, how many times do we call McNabb, Van Egmond? Did we say Korniak's name much more than the Open? No, these are players that really should be on the ball often. We talked about Turnbow a lot, but she's having to come really, really deep right now, and she's a player you want kind of high up the pitch. So I think some changes maybe in the midfield would be smart for San Diego, and then again, just more of an emphasis on that combination play to get around this Kansas City defense.
Well, we'll see what their second 45 minutes has to offer. Kansas City, 4 shutouts in the last 8. Will this be the 5th? Both teams have now allowed 12 total goals on the season. That's the fewest in the NWSL. What changes did Casey Stoney highlight in the locker room with her group? And does that lead to anything with the Wave here in half number 2? San Diego wearing the Navy uniforms, Kansas City in the whites. And we're ready to start off our second half of play here. And the other matches from around the NWSL also getting underway. OL Reign in Houston, Chicago and Gotham. The late night game is Orlando and Angel City. We're waiting for the clearance to start off this second half of action. Samantha Martinez checks her watch and blows the whistle, and here we go in half number 2. Labonta punching it forward. Possession was so good for Kansas City. Passing accuracy was high. And San Diego, meanwhile, you wonder if this wakes them up at all. They have not lost at home since becoming the expansion franchise.
And you mentioned it in the first half, but really the build-up has been a big difference between these two sides. I think that Hamilton especially has done a tremendous job of picking up that first ball, allowing players to get underneath her, players like Labonta, and that's involved more numbers innately into the attack.
It certainly felt like it was a much more cohesive build for Kansas City versus San Diego, that maybe just looking for the long ball and then an individualistic play. It does appear as if there have been a couple changes. Mackenzie Doniak and Maddie Pogarsh are coming onto the field. Jakobsen's shift comes to an end. Turnbow looking to get around Edmonds. Turnbow is able to latch onto it, but misses the shot high.
Credit to her. Turnbow has really been active. She was active in that first 45. A player that just has a very high work rate. Unfortunately, she's just not finding the ball in favorable pockets of space right now.
I thought she was their best player, other than perhaps Sheridan, and it's tough to say that,
100%.
giving up 2 goals. But Turnbow felt like she was the most dangerous, most willing to put in that extra effort in the opening 45 minutes.
And that almost seems like the key phrase there, most willing. You could definitely see, I don't know if it was fatigue from San Diego coming out today, but the energy level from Turnbow was definitely different than the rest of her group. And I will back you that Sheridan had an excellent first half. It easily could have been 4-0 if it wasn't for some big saves.
Gurma will sweep this ball away. Once again, Turnbow, the expected target. For Kansas City, can they maintain that defensive intensity that they had in the opening half? You know that there will be a surge from San Diego at some point. Hamilton. Diego working along the sideline. Taylor Korniak was the other player that came off of the field. Handball whistled and a set piece coming. No shots on target so far for San Diego.
I could see this being a whip ball, really kind of in between the spot and the 6-yard box. Get AD French uncomfortable enough to come far enough off her line, have the defenders be running in towards their own goal. Just create some chaos.
Turnbow's gonna run through it. This ball goes low towards the near post and it never reaches a Navy jersey. Looking at the table right now, Portland after their draw on Friday night, tied with San Diego. Houston, OL Reign all have opportunities to join the fray at the top of the table, but Kansas City has moved into a three-way tie for third right now, pending this result. A slide tackle is well timed.
Excellent piece of individual defending.
See if that provides any kind of ignition for San Diego, but a handball whistled against Van Egmond. Sometimes those defensive plays can swing the tide. Luera is looking for ball, and it goes out for a goal kick.
Really dangerous ball into the back stick. Kept Sheridan on her line, but was keen for a second runner. Ball, unfortunately, the only one there for Kansas City.
Kansas City had won just 3 of its first 29 regular season matches in franchise history. They are unbeaten in the last 8, leading 2-0. Kaiser already with the goal, lays it back. Labonta, Mace. Too much on that one.
Yeah, Parais just come off it a bit, and really Labonta was the one that wanted to hit that, but her first touch lets her down, and instead of forcing the issue, just lays it off to Mace, who already has one. Why not try and get you a second one? But that really started because, similar again to what we talked about in the first 45 minutes, there were times that San Diego just let it be way too easy for Kansas City to relieve pressure on that switch ball, and that was exactly what was the start of that attack we just saw.
This time Gerben defends well. Once again, San Diego continues to just concede possession. Stumbling to the ground here, Pogar. She thought she got pushed. Will not get booked for this infraction.
Pogarsh has definitely brought some energy this second half. Right call not to give her a yellow. Did not mean to go in the Pickett there, but does give up a foul in a dangerous position. If I'm Edmonds, I'm putting this in the exact same spot I just put the other one. But you see how far Sheridan's already coming off her line. She's expecting that, and she's ready to make a play.
Edmonds leaves it out there to where only Sheridan can grab it.
Yeah, very well done by Sheridan there to come up, make the angle smaller, make her job a little bit easier on herself. Doesn't have as far a distance to travel, but in that situation, if you see a goalkeeper doing that, that is a situation where I feel like just an overlapping run to that right side, get Sheridan a little bit mistimed, maybe make her rely on her footwork a bit more, and then send a service into the back post to some recycled runs.
Ace goes right through the back of Pogarsh. Pogarsh wanted a foul, will not get it. It will be a throw for San Diego.
Something that Kansas City has done well throughout the entirety of this game is just their willingness from their attacking players to be that front line of defense. They are not allowing all this pressure to be put onto their back three, who is more than capable, don't get me wrong, but what we've seen from San Diego is that eventually, no matter how good your defense is, the more they're under pressure and duress, the more likely you are to give up a goal eventually. So I credit the willingness of the Kansas City attackers right now to put in the hard work, put in the tackles, and really be that first line of defense.
Pickett finding some easy sledding, but her pass at the last second out of the reach of Hamilton. Yeah, it's really been the story of the matchup today. Kansas City has really had no blockade to get from the back line to midfield and then into the attacking third, whereas San Diego has had huge mountains to climb just to get it about 20 yards up the pitch. And this is exactly what happens when they bomb the ball down the field, maybe one touch, but it's given right back to Kansas City. Off of the throw in intended for Turnbow. It was another giveaway, but this time it goes out for a goal kick. We've talked about it a lot. It's felt like perhaps San Diego is moments away from getting one of those big moments that we've come to expect this season from the league leaders. But time not a friend, is nearly a half hour to the end of this one, and they still have not put a shot on target in this match.
What's going to be key for Kansas City is exactly what you're alluding to. When you kind of get around that 60, 65-minute mark, you're up 2-0. What's the tendency? All right, I'm going to turn off, whether it be subconscious or not, I'm going to turn off just a little bit. We've got this game in the bag. No problems here. But San Diego is a team that can turn around a game in an instant. They have instant game changers in Alex Morgan and Turnbow, who we've already seen, and Doniak now on the field. I think she brings a huge spark to this team. So the key for Kansas City is going to be to play the full 90. Continue to do exactly what you did in the first 45. Yeah, you're going to be tired. It takes a lot of energy, but that is how you keep a team like this at bay.
A rare penetration into the box for San Diego. They could use a good amount of possession in this area. Doniak was trying to win her team a corner, but nobody was making a run. Turnbow, excellent first touch. Turnbow goes down in the box, wanted a penalty, will not get one.
Face of disbelief.
Turnbow's been pushed several times in this match, and he's been asking for some fouls, hasn't gotten them.
And again, I think that was a prime example of, look at the throw-in that led to that. She was the only player really making moves with any conviction. Yeah, we all trot, we all jog around or shuffle around, but the movement with conviction from the San Diego midfield, the San Diego attackers, has not been there. Turnbow made that only run. She has an excellent first touch, creates something out of a seemingly nothing situation. Doesn't get what I would deem as a questionable call. I would like to see that one again to see if it was a shove in the back, but she has to do it all by herself. And it's again that individualistic, a little bit of that isolated attacking mentality. Great win here though for San Diego.
The ball hasn't cleared this very well with Morgan on her backside. But again, it's a giveaway or possession gained, and just a long ball forward rather than a couple artistic passes to get a good shot. CeCe Kaiser injured as the opening goal in this match in the 27th minute. Haley Mace scored in the 40th minute, and that's why Kansas City leads it 2-0. You're watching the NWSL here on Twitch, 61st minute. I'm Michael Watring alongside Marion Crowder and our entire crew watching this one. I think one of the struggles that sometimes you do run into when you have an elite goal scorer like an Alex Morgan is in moments like this, some of the players might look around and say, well, when's she gonna score? Because she has to be the one, versus a team maybe like Kansas City that spreads the wealth a little bit better. They know that anybody can score at any moment, and rather than looking for a player to be the savior, they all think that they can be that player.
I completely agree, and that's not to say that Alex Morgan is not capable of being a clutch player, because by all means she is. But to your point, is what we talked about in the first half, where Kansas City is probably aware of that, right? Like most teams that play San Diego should be aware that that could be the case. That could be the mentality. So what Kansas City has done is denied the entry ball, really put a lot of pressure onto the center backs of San Diego, the outside backs of San Diego. Mace has stepped super high up the field, and the thing is, goal scorers need help, right? As an attacker myself, you cannot score goals unless you have the team around you to give you the balls. There are rarely instances that you create, as a true striker, that you create those chances from start to finish yourself. And so instead of saying, hey, we're just going to mark Alex Morgan touch tight, we're just going to make sure that she's under pressure all the time, they're saying, hey, you know, we're not even going to let the ball get to her in the first place. And so that's where, like we talk about, the San Diego midfield needs to be more involved. It needs to be more of shape-shifting from their holding midfielders, from their attacking midfielders, to really try and pull the Kansas City back line a little bit further apart, because right now those three are just moving as a unified group, left to right, up and back. They are not missing one beat.
I think that's the biggest question that San Diego will have to ask. First, let's take a look at the subs. It is Elise Bennett coming on the field, as well as Chardonnay Curran for Kansas City. So 2 changes made by Matt Potter, with his team on top 2-0 here in the 64th minute. at San Diego. Morgan, 11 goals. Nobody else has more than 2. Conversely, for Kansas City, there are 4 players with at least 3 goals. Morgan, the intended target of this pass. Franch will pick it up. Cece Kaiser was one of the players that came off. Victoria Pickett the other. Del Fava. Labonta. Del Fava continuing on that run. Labonta will get back to it. Well, it's a good build from Kansas City, but are they exposed? Well, everybody in the stadium asking how that wasn't a foul. That'll be a goal kick.
Interesting no call there, to say the least. Del Fava probably agrees. I even think, who was that? Edmonds maybe that picked up the second. Just kept on dribbling, was a little bit unsure. But you're seeing what Alex Morgan is having to do. Multiple times now in the second half, we've seen that. She's having to drop so far off the line to win that first ball because, to be honest, no one else is. And now she's got to sprint her way to be that true number 9 target on the backside.
Pogarsh, McNabb. Can San Diego do better this time around? McNabb flies it in. And Labonta takes it away. San Diego will be sure to make their voices heard after the foul whistled.
Yeah, they're definitely thinking this one, but not that one. Now, granted, I think this one's a bit worse. No question about that being a foul, but maybe one of those situations the crowd would have wanted to say, hey, you let them play, let us play too.
And a penalty will be awarded here. Pogarsh called for the foul, and Kansas City will have a chance to make it 3-0.
Doesn't help that Pogarsh had already been whistled by the referee a couple of times this half. So surely the referee has her number, but no doubt about that. Watch here, shirt tugging from both, but it was a good turn. She got on the inside shoulder of Pogarsh, and Pogarsh had to make a choice. Do I foul her, which she did, or do I let her go and attack the inline? A tough spot for a defender to be in, but a chance right here for Kansas City to really take this one home.
Well, that's the impact that Elise Bennett has made this season. 2 goals off of the bench. One of 3 players in the NWSL with multiple goals as a substitute. And Lo Labonta steps to the spot, perhaps in a position to put this game away. Kaylin Sheridan came up with her 7th PK save of her career last week to tie Jane Campbell for the most all time. Here comes Labonta. Sheridan with an 8th career save, and that keeps the door open for San Diego.
Wow. My, oh my, Kaylin Sheridan, take a bow. Pogarsh thanking her for getting her out of that. And I'm wondering if Potter over there is saying, hey, she came off the line. You see, when Sheridan does her PKs, you see how far back she steps, right? That is planned, right? That is because as a goalkeeper on a PK, you obviously cannot take a moving step forward to close the space down. So I'm sure that Matt Potter is saying, hey, that still counts. Just because she starts behind the line doesn't mean that that is allowed now. If I had any assumption of what that argument was, it would be that.
Hamilton skies it over the top of everything, and what a moment from Kaylin Sheridan. Here was the penalty drawn by Bennett. Pogarsh whistled for the foul, and now Labanta's strike, and Sheridan strong. Well, Sheridan began her playing days as a forward, moved to goalkeeper, hated the position when she first moved to that spot, but has the mindset of both. And that PK save for a second consecutive week stopped Mallory Pugh last week at Soldier Field. And that leaves the door open for a comeback for San Diego, because you felt like if another goal went in, 3-0 would be too much for a San Diego team that has not put a shot on target in this match. Now can San Diego take advantage? Turnbow. She gets taken down, wants a foul, won't get it. Instead, it'll be a throw.
Tell you what, Kelsey Turnbow's going to have some bruises on her after this game. Straight to the ice bath, lady.
Morgan. It's a great turn. It's a good ball in. Van Egmond waits. Can't get that initial touch right. And then sends it out. And that's been the missing ingredient throughout the match. Might have a good pass, a good run, but the touches just haven't been there for San Diego so far.
That was an excellent turn by Alex Morgan down the line. Excellent delivery into the back post, and exactly like what you said. First touch, let her down. But unfortunately, that has been the story, right? It's been the final ball might be good, but the final touch isn't good. The decision to take that shot instead of the pass. I'm trying to go 1v1 against a defender that has cover, right? All of those things have played into the score line that you see right now. But I do think that there is some life from that Sheridan save. I think that we just saw a little bit of juice go into the San Diego squad, certainly into the home crowd.
Labonta. The header is one, but Sheridan's right on the line to pull it out of the sky. Well, Sheridan came in with that mindset, that mentality. She's arguing that she received a yellow card moments ago. Well, this time there are some numbers forward, and it's a good pass. Doniak for Turnbow. Turnbow sweeps the leg and skies it.
And you can tell Alex Morgan not happy about that one, because really the right decision from Doniak there should have been, that was a lovely pass, little slip ball into the feet of Doniak. And it just gets, again, caught underneath her, and it forces her to have to go wide to Turnbow when there was a streaking free Alex Morgan on the right side.
Foul whistled. In the last 10 or 15 minutes, possession has been better for San Diego. Passing's been a little bit better as well. Is a breakthrough coming? Whistle blows. This ball is coming in.
I'm not really sure what Van Egmond is complaining about there. I know what the argument is. The argument is that Hamilton is too close, but I mean, seems pretty 10 yards to me. And it kind of in this situation, like, you're down 2-0. Don't stop the momentum that you've got built up. Play that a bit quicker.
Turnbow will get to the second ball. Wants to get on that preferred left foot. Flies this ball in. And it will be a corner kick coming up here for San Diego. The Wave looking to break through. Kansas City has taken the lead in the league for fewest goals allowed for the season, with San Diego giving up a pair in this match.
And really, A.D. Franch has not been tested in this game. And you see what Kansas City doesn't do. They do not put players on the post or players in front of A.D. Franch.
Will be taken back. They'll reset the runs, and now Turnbow. It does reach ahead of Doniak, but goes wide.
So the thought there was to give Turnbow a little bit of a better angle, get it on her preferred left foot from Doniak back to Turnbow. But again, we've seen a short corner in this game, and Turnbow ended up having to take an extra touch. Runs were mistimed, and then you have an opportunity where you could have really put A.D. Franch, tested her, seen what she's about today. That was wasted.
Turnbow comes off here in the 76th minute. It was a really, really good shift for her. Now you wonder if Amir Ali, who replaces her, can fill in that gap. Turnbow, the best field player for San Diego, probably in this matchup. Sheridan, best overall player. Bennett called for the foul. Katie Johnson also replaced Belle Breedy. 77th minute, Kansas City, 2 first-half goals on the road, looking to hand San Diego its first ever home loss in all competitions. With Marion Crowder, I'm Michael Watrang. Delighted to have you along for this one on a quadruple header Sunday in the NWSL. Doniak, a good initial turn, and it'll be a throw. Now 2 more changes coming.
Yeah, a bit of fresh legs coming in for Kansas City, and then that San Diego sub. I really like Katie Johnson coming into the pitch. I think she brings a little bit more of an attacking mentality than perhaps Belle Breedy does.
Kristen Edmonds will come off of the field. Jenna Weinbrenner, a rookie, played collegiately at TCU, replaces her on the back line. And Labonta comes out, and the recently signed Claire Lavauger from France in her first season here in the United States is on.
Exciting substitution there for Kansas City, having Lavauger on the field. A player that can really command centrally, can run at you 1v1, but can hit an absolute screamer from distance if need be. Granted, that is not at the moment what Kansas City needs, but who doesn't love 3 goals in one game?
Lavauger, 47 goals in the French Premier Division starting in 2010. Hamilton was making that run, but Sheridan comes out to gobble it up. San Diego, if a comeback is to be had, probably needs to get a breakthrough in the next couple minutes.
And really, I like these Kansas City subs because they're almost like for like. You know, he's not making more defensive-minded substitutions. He is continuing to put fresh attackers into the mix. I think because Matt Potter has seen the value in pressing their numbers a little bit higher and making the San Diego back line uncomfortable with the ball at their feet. And that's really been limiting the touches of Alex Morgan, Kelsey Turnbow when she was on the field. So why not keep doing that?
Ali, that's the second time that she had the original position, and she allows Weinbrenner to step in front and kick the ball away.
Yeah, that's that sense of urgency from really San Diego as a whole today. Just lacking a bit. Focus on the technical aspect of the game, lacking a bit. But over these last 5 minutes or so, really I think that save did give them some life, but what are you going to do with that new momentum? We've seen a lot more collective attack. I think that's been starting from Alex Morgan, really making it a point to come back deeper and win the first ball. Unfortunate that she has to do that instead of staying high up the line and really stretching the Kansas City back line, but a veteran player that will do what needs to be done for her team to have a shot.
Sheridan hits it out. It's not often in a 2-0 match that the goalkeeper that has given up 2, you can make a really strong argument, has been the best player on the field, but that's certainly the case for Sheridan because, I mean, we're easily talking about this being 1 or 2 more goals. She saved a PK. She saved a breakaway opportunity from Labonta in the 8th minute, as well as an opportunity off of a shot from Hamilton in the 43rd.
Yeah, that outstretched save. Whew. We could do a highlight package on her saves. Several of those, I'm sure, will be up for Save of the Week. 1, if not multiple. If they can have multiple nominees for Save of the Week, is that possible?
I think you can package them all together and just make it a cohesive group.
Kaylin Sheriff.
Yes. Lavoisier. Too much on that ball. Well, here we stand in the 82nd minute. Shot attempts are 15-6. Kansas City, 6-0 shots on target.
And that tells the picture. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm trying to go through in my head right now moments of that you would say that was a dangerous opportunity for San Diego. And I feel like I'm coming up with one, maybe.
Ali. Now Van Egmond. What was that one?
You know? That one.
That one.
I'm kidding. And look, we sit here in the booth and we can say all these things, and we are not the players out there on the pitch. And there are so many factors that play into performances on any given day. And so by no means, you know, is this a knock on San Diego. It's just one of those games that they've just been off. That's really a simplistic way to put it. We've talked about their touches. We've talked about the style in which they've attacked and the lack of adjustment being made. I get that kind of 1v1, let's leave them on an island type of approach has worked for you in the past, but there are some games that need tweaking. And so we've talked about that. We've talked about how the hold-up play has been different for Kansas City as opposed to San Diego and how it's been better, and that's really been a key factor. And so we can talk about all those things and we can break them down, you know, to grain. But really, it just comes down to it seems to be an off day for San Diego, and that happens in this game. And there's still 7 minutes. We've seen them be a clutch team down the stretch. But it's also one of those games I think they're going to look back on. They're going to watch the film on it, and they're going to agree, okay, this was not our best performance. Bag it. Leave it. Let's go away from it. Let's continue to build on the momentum that we had before this.
That's a valid point because they will get the next few at home, starting with an Orlando match on Saturday. Houston, Portland after that. Girma strikes the free kick. It is cleared away. You're talking about those moments that San Diego have or haven't had. The only one that I wrote down was a free kick from Van Egmond that she skied over the crossbar.
Yep.
Moments have been very few and far between for the Wave, but that's much better defending by Girma.
And I go back to, you know, that film session that's inevitably going to happen this week with probably the coaching staff, and the players. And I think you need to address the trends. The trend for you as a team has really been that the secondary movement is lacking in your attack. That's been made more evident when you play against such a good defensive unit that Kansas City presents. But the other trend has been that huge gap between your defensive line and your midfield unit, and just the pocket of space that really Lo LaBonta, Haley Mace, they were finding a free-for-all in there just to operate at will. But I think other teams have found that about you as well. So if I'm doing that film session, I'm pointing those things out, the things that we know that have been a problem for us all season, and I'm leaving the rest behind, and I'm moving on to the next week.
Well, the other aspect, too, is it is a team that has been in first place all season long. It's not like a performance like this has been the consistent
standard,
part
exactly.
of the season. Yes.
You're allowed to have one bad game. I mean.
And you're never going to go an entire franchise history without ever losing at home. It was bound to happen at some point. And it's really a credit to Kansas City and the form that they've been on. They've been unbeaten in the last 8. If this holds, it'd be the 6th win in the last 9. And after just 1 point in the first 5 matches of the year, they would climb to potentially as high as 3rd in the standings, depending on how everything else shakes out this weekend.
And to that point, you know, really the first 15 minutes, yeah, San Diego was shooting themselves in the foot a little bit, but the first goal scored today was all credit to Kansas City. They did everything right.
Here's a charge for the Wave. Ali finally breaks through for San Diego. The first shot on target has sliced the deficit in half.
It does not matter how many shots you have on target if they all go in. And boy, do we have a different game to play for. And now you look at the substitutions that were made for San Diego, and you're coming into the last potentially 3 to 5 minutes, and you've got fresh legs on the field. Incredible work by Mackenzie Doniak on that right-hand side. And then the delayed run, totally unmarked she was. Clinical finish, opens up her hips, inside of the foot, not too much on it. And Ali gives this team some life. It really started with that Sheridan PK, right? That PK save gave them what they needed to get a little bit momentum going. And then they just kept pushing. They kept pushing, and they didn't give up. And we have seen this team time and time again come back in late moments. And Casey Stoney's substitutions now are looking magical.
Bennett looking for the answer. Will get latched back onto it. Goes on the outside of the cage. But we praise Turnbow's effort all game long, and who ended up replacing her in the lineup? Ali. In that position has been the best on the pitch for San Diego. Now the question in the waning moments, can they pull level? Del Fava. Kansas City will want to take time off the clock now.
And I see Del Fava. I've been watching her for really the past 8 or 10 minutes or so. If Matt Potter did make another sub, that would be my replacement. I think there's some fatigue there.
Corner kick will come here. All the white jerseys are walking away from it.
Alex Morgan begging for a card. Honestly, I'm right there with her if I'm a player on the other team.
Del Fava will push this in. Sheridan will pick it up. And the break is on now for San Diego. Looking for an equalizer. So we'll get 4 minutes of stoppage time. Bennett racing against Girma. Now goes 1v1. Bennett strikes. Rather than waste some time, she elected to go for the third.
Every time she touches the ball, I get a little excited. I don't know about you, but
Elise Bennett, one of the 2 NWSL players to be daughters of former NFL players. Her father winning a Super Bowl with the Packers in 1997. Current Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver coach. And there will be a change here for Kansas City. Haley Mace will come out. Izzy Rodriguez will come in. And as it stands, Mace's goal in the 40th minute is the game winner if that holds the next couple minutes.
what a game Haley Mace had. She was the difference maker to me in that first 45 minutes. The way that she stepped up, won balls in the center of the park, didn't allow for an out for San Diego, and then obviously hits a banger to send them, give them what it is, an insurance goal at the moment.
Another push here for the Wave. Ali sets position. Johnson. Pogarsh. Ali is unmarked in that box, but inability to find her. Del Fava. Sheridan well off of her line. Works out for a throw. That's a good turn by Johnson. Ali. Morgan. A lot of room over here. Morgan the target. Bodies collide. No foul whistled. Pogarsh gets it back. Frenetic finish in store here. Lavoisier. Maybe another minute to go here. That's a very good play to win the ball, but hit it out. Well, San Diego wants is one more crack at it. They might not get it. They do get possession. Maybe 30 seconds left. The fans realize that and get behind the wave. Ali will make the turn. Ali in the box. Leaves it behind. Well, Samantha Martinez give him one more crack. Girma sends it into the box. And there's the full-time whistle. Kansas City comes to San Diego and hands the Wave their first ever home loss. 9 unbeaten matches in a row for the Current. Marion, your final thoughts from this one as Kansas City takes 3 points on the road for a 3rd consecutive road win.
I mean, I think you got to give credit to Kansas City this game. They executed their game plan from start to finish. They denied entry ball, really forced San Diego to look for other options outside of their front players. And the midfield for San Diego really didn't show up like they needed to in this situation. The attack did not adapt to what was in front of them. I think KC is in tremendous form right now. And what a boast of confidence. Not that you need it anymore, but to be able to take the top of the table down at home, that speaks to how unified you are right now as a group. But for San Diego, I think they're going to look at this one. I think there are some things they can take to adjust. We talked about some of those during the game, but the main thing for them is to wash this one away. You are still in tremendous form. You are still in a tremendous team with a lot to cover through the stretch of this season. We are all entitled to a bad game, and this for San Diego was one that they were just a bit off.
San Diego finishes with just 1 shot on target. It's Ali's goal in the 88th minute. And a team that has been in first place in every week of the standings gets taken down by a Kansas City team that has now won its 6th in the last 9 and is unbeaten in 9 in a row. For our entire crew and my partner Marion Crowder, I'm Michael Watchrank signing off. Plenty more action for the NWSL on Twitch. This has been the presentation of the NWSL. Good night and good day, everybody.